The world knew him as a symbol of strength, speed, and absolute control. Bruce Lee was not just a martial artist or an actor, he was a philosophy, a revolution. In the early 1970s, he was at the peak of his career, and America, along with the entire world, was watching him closely. Bruce Lee had broken barriers that no Asian actor had ever crossed in Hollywood. His films, his training, and his words inspired millions of people, especially the younger generation, who saw in him not just action, but discipline, focus, and relentless determination. By 1973, Bruce Lee was working on Enter the Dragon, the movie that was going to cement his global legacy. The film was scheduled to release internationally, and studios were already in discussions about bigger projects. Bruce was not just preparing for another film, he was preparing to change Hollywood forever. His life was fast-paced, rigorous, and demanding. He pushed his body and mind to extremes that most people could never imagine. Every day was a challenge, every hour structured, every movement precise. He believed that controlling the body and mind was the key to mastering life itself. Then came July 20, 1973. It started as a severe headache. Nothing about that day suggested that history was about to take a shocking turn. The pain was intense enough that Bruce could not ignore it. Initially, it seemed manageable, but as the day progressed, it worsened. A common painkiller was administered to him, the kind millions of people take every day without consequence. Bruce lay down to rest, as he often did after pushing himself physically. But this time, something went terribly wrong. He never woke up. Doctors later reported that Bruce Lee had died due to cerebral edema, sudden swelling of the brain. While the medical term sounded clinical and clear, it left the world puzzled. How could a man who was in peak physical condition, who neither drank nor smoked, who had no known major illness, suddenly die? The shockwaves were immediate. Fans around the world, especially in the United States, were stunned. The questions were endless. How could the strongest, fittest man alive collapse in an instant? Was it a freak accident, a reaction to medication, or something else entirely? Speculation spread fast. Some suggested that the painkiller had triggered a fatal allergic reaction. Others argued that his intense training, his relentless physical regimen, and his extreme diet may have pushed his body beyond its limits. Bruce Lee was not just strong, he was extraordinary. His workout routines, his focus on precision, and his constant testing of his physical boundaries meant that he lived on the edge. But even with that knowledge, the world struggled to comprehend the suddenness of his death. To make the story even more mysterious, months before his death, Bruce had experienced another incident where he collapsed due to what doctors said was a cerebral issue. While he recovered from that event, it foreshadowed that his body might be under more stress than anyone realized. July 20th wasn't just a random tragedy. In retrospect, it was part of a series of incidents that hinted at the fragility even of the seemingly invincible. The impact of his death in the United States was profound. Bruce Lee was more than an entertainer, he was a cultural icon. He had opened doors for Asian actors in Hollywood, breaking stereotypes and proving that talent knows no racial boundaries. His films became more than just action movies, they became cultural phenomena. Fans rewatched his interviews, analyzed his techniques, and debated his philosophy. Bruce Lee's death left a void that was felt not just by his fans, but by an entire generation that saw him as a role model, a teacher, and a symbol of human potential. Yet, in a way, his death immortalized him. Bruce Lee became more than a man, he became a legend. The mystery surrounding his sudden demise fueled fascination, making his life and death a subject of endless analysis. People wondered, could he have been saved? Was it a simple medical accident, or were there hidden factors at play? These questions, unanswered and debated for decades, added to the mythos of Bruce Lee. His philosophy, famously summarized in phrases like, "Be water, my friend," took on an almost prophetic quality after his death. Bruce Lee believed in adaptability, flexibility, and total control of mind and body. Ironically, his sudden death reminded the world that even the most disciplined human being is vulnerable to life's unpredictability. His life and passing taught lessons that transcended martial arts or cinema. They became a meditation on mortality, the limits of human strength, and the enduring power of legacy. Even today, over 50 years later, Bruce Lee's influence remains unmatched. Martial arts schools, Filmmakers and fans across the globe continue to celebrate his techniques, his philosophy, and his relentless pursuit of excellence. His death did not diminish his impact, it amplified it. The shock of losing someone so capable and powerful instantly created a legend that no time, no generation, and no doubt can erase. Bruce Lee's story is a reminder of how fragile life can be, even for the strongest among us. It shows that human potential, no matter how extraordinary, has boundaries, often invisible until the last moment. But perhaps that is what makes his story eternal. A man who lived with such intensity that even his passing continues to inspire, intrigue, and teach. The world remembers him not just as a fighter, an actor, or a celebrity, but as an icon whose life and death became inseparable from the legend of what one human being can achieve. And so, Bruce Lee remains alive in memory, philosophy, and culture, a symbol of unmatched dedication, power, and the enduring mystery of life itself.